I'm Logan Crawford, and right now on Spotlight, we're diving into the captivating world of a wonderful book. It's called Very Short Stories, and it's written by a terrific author and artist by the name of Judi Lightfield. This unique compilation features witty and sincere poems that transport readers through scenic byways of emotion and thought, ending in unexpected destinations. Join us as we explore how Judi's artistic journey and personal experiences shape her evocative poetry. We're delighted to have this very talented author and artist join us here today on Spotlight. We thank the team at Atticus Publishing for helping us put her in the spotlight today. And we ask viewers like you to support authors like her by subscribing to our channel and by purchasing her wonderful book. The links are below this interview. Judi, great to see you here today on Spotlight.
Thank you. Yes, I'm excited.
Well, I'm excited to have you on the show. These stories are wonderful. These poems are inspired. Tell us what made you decide to compile these stories into a book?
Um, I have to go back to 1973 very briefly. I was 19. I had my first apartment, my first full-time job, and I was free to do what I wanted to do. I also had my first drug dealing boyfriend, and he was no small time dealer. He dealt in shopping bags full of cocaine. He threw a party, and I remember being in a white dress and um, ice sculptures and waiters in suits, and the party was ending, and suddenly he came from behind me, grabbed me, and put a gun to my head. But I was telling a story, and he told me to shut the fuck up, but I didn't, because I was telling this story. And when I got to the end of the story, I realized that the metal was cold and it was a real gun. And for a moment, he just shut up, but then he just shoved me and I kept walking. I didn't change my risky behaviors at the time. It took a while for me to really integrate the experience into my life. But when I did, I came up with Scheherazade. And the story of Scheherazade is interesting. She came out of Persia, 7th and 8th century. There was a king, Sherah, who was found his wife cheating on him, and he got disgusted. So he took to marrying a virgin every night and then slitting her throat in the morning. Scheherazade, she knew what she was doing, and so she started telling a story. And at the end of the night, the dawn came, and she wasn't finished with the story, so he let her live. And she lived for 1,001 nights. And that's the story of Aladdin, Sinbad. All those stories came out of her captivity. At the end of the 1,001 nights, he marries her. So in effect, it's a comedy. But I felt a kinship with her because I had a gun held to my head and I still told my story. So I've been telling stories all my life. I went to a writing circle at a local library, and everybody was writing a book. So I thought to myself, I'd like to write a book, but I realized I had 89 poems already. So, and I in fact had written the book. I just needed to edit it and format it and put it up. So that's what I did.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Well, it's a wonderful book. What are some of the themes or topics that you explore in the book?
A quirky sense of humor, dogs, the weather, words, and the moral to the story.
Mm.
Can I
Yeah.
give you an example?
Absolutely. I'd love that.
Okay. The Wizard of Oz decides to live existentially, so assembles a grand tea party. Attendees, Witch of the East, Red Queen, Jabberwocky, Munchkins, maybe 3, Scarecrow, Tweedledee, Dormouse, Flying Monkeys, maybe 3. Conversation starts slowly sideways. Scarecrow and Tweedledee try to break the ice but can't agree who is dumb and what is twiddling. The Red Queen bellows. It's a travesty, a treachery, once off with the Jabberwocky's head. Flying Monkeys will oblige, but the cowardly lion starts to cry and rust the Tin Man's thigh. Quiet all. Dorothy has an announcement to make. Oz and Alice have eloped and decided to start a family. The shock, the horror, the stun-faced grin. Children everywhere, confused and chagrined. How can this be? Think of the therapy, the DNA, the moral ambiguity. When Dr. Seuss strides in gallantly and says the words they all want and need to hear in no uncertain terms, immediately, emphatically, irrevocably. The end.
Wow. That's a wonderful, creative, inspired take on a classic story. That's really, really wonderful.
Thank you.
That's great. Now, in addition to being a writer, you're also an artist. We see one of your paintings behind you. Tell us a little bit about your artwork.
Well, I had a half a dozen galleries across the country showing my work and selling my work. I had a flourishing career up till February 6, 2005. My daughter, Sarah, who is 20 years old, was supposed to come to my house for dinner. She wasn't late, but I got in the car and went to her apartment. She was going to the University of Denver at the time. I called, I buzzed, I walked around the building. I couldn't find her. Somebody let me in, and when I got to her apartment, I found her dead on the floor. And my life was over at the time. A year after she died, I had 2 events and sold all of my paintings and raised $38,000. Heifer International got a whole arc. Friendship Bridge, which gives microloans to women in Guatemala. Half a dozen animal rescue places all got money. But I couldn't go back to doing the work that I had been doing, which was very similar to the painting on the cover of the book and on the back. So my first idea was that everybody lives in their own bubble, which you're familiar with, but what does it look like? I worked for probably a couple of years to get the idea down. Then I did a painting installation. I rewrote the first couple of days of Genesis, and the paintings went along with the writing. You can see it on YouTube if you search Judi with an I, Lightfield, and Genesis. There's a video of the installation. My next idea came suddenly to me. I got to seeing orbs, orbs just all over the place. And so the paintings that I'm doing now have to do with landscape, but also with orbs, and they stand in for the things that you really can't see. Cells, atoms, molecules, dust, pollen, insects. When the first movie theaters were being installed in Japan, the architect had the seats put in perpendicularly because he knew that the dust and smoke caught in the projected light would be as interesting as what was going on the screen. And as a kid, I was always interested in the ephemera of life. And so my paintings now capture that ephemera.
Well, your artwork is amazing. Your words are amazing as well. The book we've been focusing on today is called Very Short Stories, written by author and artist Judi Lightfield. This book is a unique compilation that features witty and sincere poems that transport readers through scenic byways of emotion and thought, ending in unexpected destinations. It is an amazing compilation of work. You will enjoy reading them. You'll love Judi's unique take on emotion, thought, and life. And her artwork, of course, is captivating as well. Judi, thank you so much for joining us here today on Spotlight.
Thank you.
I appreciate your time. To the folks at home, I'm Logan Crawford, thanking you for your time, this time until next time on Spotlight.